Hey guys, today I'm going to do a Rubik's Cube tutorial broken up into individual parts. This is part 1. Part 1, I'm going to have it to where you learn about all the pieces and how they work and notation. So, if you already know this stuff, then you can skip ahead, and I'll probably call this episode 0. If I don't, then go to episode 2. If I do, go to episode 1. Alright, now that's out of the way, I'm going to show you how to do each piece. So I will be overviewing each one of the pieces. So we will start off with an edge piece. Excuse me, my pieces are very loose. An edge piece usually looks like this. This is very high quality, so if you have a cube or even a Rubik's brand or something you got that is not high quality or professional or not even a speed cube, then your edge might not always look like this, but it should look very similar. There is always going to be 2 colors. So this is the white-orange edge piece. So that means this edge piece right here is always going to have white and orange always on this. And the edge piece has to always be an edge piece because it only has 2 colors. Now I'm going to have to take out an edge piece to demonstrate this next one. This is a corner piece. Corner pieces actually look very similar to this. A bottom that's usually triangular in 3 colors on each side. Of course, again, your cube might not have this exact thing, this exact model. So, a corner piece is always going to be on these corners right here. They are not going they're not going to move, and same thing with the edge pieces. Edge pieces are going to always be on the edge spot, and it doesn't matter what face they're on. But corners are always going to be in the very outsides of the cube. I'm trying not to get my fingers dirty. So corner pieces are always going to be on the cube. Now, if you so happen to accidentally have one of these pop out in the middle of your solve, and you put it back orientated in the wrong way, A, it is not considered cheating that you accidentally had it come out and you're putting it back in. B, it is okay if you corner twist to reposition it if you cannot do the algorithm correctly without the positions. Same with the edges if you have to take it out and put it back in because you accidentally misorientated it. So, now on to the center pieces. The center pieces will always be on the center of the cube. And to show you, I'm going to do checker pattern real quick. And also I'll teach you how to do that because it's the most basic pattern ever. So if you want to do the standard one, that's not very fancy. You do, you just move this up, like that, that, and it'll give you a nice checkerboard pattern. As you see, each one of the centers are always in the center of the cube. They're always in that one space, even if I do it again. Now the fancy way does require to move the centers, but they'll still be in the same place. It's just that we're moving the centers along the axes. But it's basically the same thing if you're doing it. And this is it. So it's a bit quicker. And we'll get into what the moves are when we get into move notation. Also, inside of the cube, there is something called a core. For my cube, I have an octopus core, which means there's like a bit of things. I think that's what it is. But if you have any other cheaper speed cube, or not just Moyu, which is my brand, you might have a core that looks very similar to this. This is the YJ Binran. So that is the core. The core has screws and springs that go in through the centers, and I'll show you that. And they go in, and it just holds it all together and is able to turn it. If you are using a standard Rubik's brand, it might be a bit harder to take it out. You can just put your thumb under and pop it. I just twist the edge, but that's because mine's a bit looser. But if you have a Rubik's brand, which I do not currently have on me, I don't have it right now. I don't have one. So much for a Cuber. But if you have a standard Rubik's brand, and you are able to see what's in the center caps, which are these things, and then inside there are the screw, spring, and washer if necessary. So in a Rubik's brand, if you are using one of those to solve it and you want to solve it right now, then you might have a core that goes out. It's a standard green color like you have right here. It's a bit deeper, more green. And it'll have, instead of screws, which I'll use this again, instead of like screws, you can see the screws go up into there, holding this on there. You will have little rivets which snap into it, which is why the turning isn't very good and it's not very easy. Also, the pieces are a lot more blocky, which doesn't make the turning very good. Now, I'll just show you a quick algorithm just to show you how fast. So, this is called the UA perm. You'll learn it later on when I do PLL. So what you're doing is you're switching this edge right here, this edge right here, that edge. And when you do that, looks like that. You're doing it very fast though. So now on to move notation. And I'm going to show you extensive move notation. So right here. So when I move the cube up, when I move it up, this is backwards to me. But when I move it up, this is the right side. Well, no. This will be the right side to you. It's the left side to me, and I'm moving it. So this would be considered R. I am moving the right side up. R. And if you're reading a scramble, it would be in uppercase R. R. Now, let's go on to U. U, let me get this right. Okay. So a U is this while you're moving it. Also, actually I'll get into that later. So a U, you're just moving it this way, the top face. Alright. Now, on to F. Okay. So this is F. You are moving the front face clockwise. You're moving it. Nope. Wrong way, Grady. I misorientated because it's different. Yeah, it goes this way. Nope. This, whatever way I'm showing you, that's the way an F is. Now a B, we're gonna have to look at the back. A B, hold on, a B looks like this. So let me just put you into perspective. A B will look like this. You're moving the back layer 90 degrees clockwise. A B. You're just moving the back layer. It looks like an upper layer, but if you have it like this, you can see it's the back layer. Now onto the bottom layer. This is noted as D. And anytime you see a letter and it's capital, you do it 90 degrees, just that one face. This is a D. You're moving the layer on the bottom. And for last but not least, L. L. L is basically like R, but it's on the left side instead of the right, and it's moving it. So if you have the R, it's basically on the left side, but instead of it going clockwise like it does on the right side, if you flip it, it'll look like it's going counterclockwise, but it's actually going clockwise. Figure it out yourself. Now, we're going on to some harder things. Well, this part is not very harder. What is my grammar? So, if you see anything with a little apostrophe and it's only one line, it's a one-line apostrophe, cubing terms, you call a prime. So, if I had an R, well, let me just, okay. If I had an R move, it would go like this. But if I had an apostrophe on it, or R prime, I would move it 90 degrees counterclockwise. Now, if you see any other video on it on YouTube, and it says, sometimes some tutorials will have it say right inverted, I just think it sounds really way too weird to me. So I always call it R prime. But if you do look on any other tutorials, it'll say right inverted. And that's so on and so forth with all the faces. So like this is a U prime. Here, wait, no, this is U. Hold on. Yes, this is U. This is a U prime. You're just moving it counterclockwise. Simple as that. So once you get it clockwise down, you can basically do it. But you always got to remember, if it is uppercase and it has a prime symbol or an apostrophe, it means you do it counterclockwise. Now we are going to go into a lot harder stuff. Some of this stuff took me some time to do. This next part, we're going to be going into slice moves. Slice moves. Now this is M. I really hate doing M. Right now for me, I'm doing an M prime, but for you it looks like an M. You're moving it down. Now I really hate this because if I am going to do an M, a thumb flick is hard for me, so I have to do it like that. That's why I never use M move algorithms. I only use M prime. So that's M and M prime. Now we get on to E. E moves. Pretty sure, yeah, this is an E move. You're just, I don't know why they call it E. I think it's because this middle layer only has edges. I just thought of that now. But it's called an E move. You're moving the E layer, apparently. That's what it is. Then there's S. And, of course, it's got counterclockwise. There's S. To where, well, this is S. That was S prime. This one actually abbreviates for slice, but all the moves are called slices. So now we get on to that one checkerboard. We can do actually E2, M2, S2, and it'll be checkered. And then, so again. And now we're going to get on to some higher level things. Wide moves. These are going to be very important if you're doing PLLs and OLLs, and sometimes F2Ls if you're going to learn CFOP. I don't know about ZZ, CT, ZZ, Petrus. I know that Ru doesn't have it. So yeah, that's that. Now onto wide moves. Again, this is going to be how you perform a wide move. A wide move is your standard face move, so let's just, so here's an R. But if you're going to do a wide move, there are two different notations for wide moves. Depends on what thing you're using. Some places will have a W after the letter. If it does, it'll most likely, whoops, that was just a bottle, don't worry. It's an empty Gatorade bottle. Also, you might see this one 4x4, 5x5, and up. So you'd see R, W. When you see that and it's on a 3x3, So, you know how you do an R move? Well, you take, instead of doing just an R, you take 2 layers, like that. And then they have the primes. So this would be L wide prime. And also, I think this is a lot simpler version, but if you're having a different program, it might not always have a W. So if it doesn't, it'll most likely be lowercase. That means you do a wide move too. Also, make sure you're not doing pyraminx, because on pyraminx, that'd be moving the tips. And that's a little annoying. So make sure you're on 3x3, okay? It'll look a little suspicious because there won't be any D moves, or F moves. Then you'll know that you're on pyramid. But also, you could be on bigger cubes and it'll have the lowercase or W. Make sure you're on 3x3 when you do it. There might be wide moves and then it'll trick you up and your scramble will be totally messed up. And now to cube rotations. This is where my misorientation really sucks. This is a Z. This took me forever to learn, and I want you to learn it so you don't have to be crazy and you're looking at your alg sheet and you're like, what the heck? How do I do a Z? This is a Z. Whoops. See? It's a Z. You hold Z axis, or axis. You hold the Z axis and then move it clockwise. Face rotations will help you learn this. This is an X. You take the X, you move it clockwise. You hold the X axis, you move it clockwise. Sorry. Again, I misorientated. Come on. This is a Y. You hold the Y axis, and then you go clockwise. And again, with the prime, if there's an apostrophe, just do it counterclockwise. You can figure it out. Super simple. Alright. Well, this video is getting decently long. And I guess that's all that we have today. I'll see you in episode 1.